Hello everyone. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the topic called IDR, which is nothing but intelligent document recognition. So in this video we are going to discuss about certain topics about IDR itself. What is IDR? Configuration process, how to send an email, how to port invoice as a AP user, can we restrict port process for particular users? What are the duties it is required for IDR? And we are also learn about what is adaptive learning and what type of documents does IDR supports. So if you're looking for anything related to the IDR, which is nothing but intelligent document recognition questions, I hope this video, clear cut video will helpful for you. So first, what is IDR? IDR is nothing but intelligent document recognition. For example, supplier, supplier have more than 1,000 invoice per day or 2,000 invoice per day or 5,000 invoice per day, and we cannot you know create manually because it takes manual efforts. It takes lot of time to create 5,000 invoice. Even for example, even if I take one invoice to create, it will take at least 2 to 3 minutes to create an invoice for AP user. To avoid this, and Oracle introduced this IDR functionality, that is intelligent document recognition. When with the help of this IDR, if supplier sends invoice to particular email, our system will create an invoice automatically. So this will help to reduce the manual efforts. This is really one of the good feature introduced by the Oracle, and many of the clients are implemented this intelligent document recognition feature. So that is the meaning of the IDR. And coming to the configuration process, let's jump into the Oracle instance. So let's go to the Oracle instance, go to setup and maintenance, and search with intelligent document recognition. So this is the task that we need to go. I'll just mention the same in our Excel. Yeah, this is unnecessarily created. So let me copy once again. So just copy it here, and I'll just jump to my Excel. So this is the taskbar that we need to go, and by default the status of this taskbar will be inactive, and we need to make this as active. This is one of the configuration step, and here you can see there are multiple options. So what is impact of these options? Let's see. For example, if invoice is having the tax amount, do you really want to recognize that tax amount or not? Similarly, freight amount, and recognize lines for the matched invoice. Matched invoice is nothing but the PO invoice. PO invoice must be having multiple lines, right? So to recognize the lines of the PO invoice, you must enable this option. And even non-PO invoice might be having lines, multiple lines, right? So to recognize the multiple lines by the IDR, you need to enable this option. And similarly, calculate tax during import. Do you really want to calculate the tax? And there are multiple options. Likewise, so you can dig into it and utilize the same. And if you see here the image email, I'll just copy this image email for time being. I'll let you know what is the use of this image email. And then, yeah, if you see here how to send an email here, I'll just copy it here once again. Supplier needs to send an email to this particular email. So this is the supplier's task. Supplier will send the email of invoices to this particular email. Once supplier sends an email, AP user will import the invoice. So how can we import the invoice? Let's see. So go to home page and click on invoice. Click on taskbar and here you can see the import process, import invoices. So click on import invoice, and then by default you'll be seeing the source as a spreadsheet. So here the important step is that you need to select invoice image and select your BU and select your ledger based on the business and click on submit. So I'll just write this source. This is important point. So how to import invoice APIs? Import invoice. Source is invoice image. This is the task import invoice, and under the task you will see the source. You need to select invoice image. So this one is, can we restrict import process for particular users? So here the question is, who can import the this process? Who can import the supplier invoice? So to restrict that or to give the privileges to the particular users, we need to do some configuration once again. So go to the setup and maintenance. Go to taskbar here, search, click on manage administration profile values. Here you can see here, and click on default underscore org. Yeah, so this is the full code. Okay, okay, so I'm facing some issue. So let me refresh the instance. Now, error with the website. So let's go to once again setup and maintenance and search manage administration profile values. And search once again default org ID. So I'll once again write this profile option in our Excel. So where we can restrict, this is manage administration profile values task, and where you can search with this profile option, and then you can add your username and user. So I'll just try to give one username. Here you can give any username, and here you can give your business unit access. See, likewise you have to give this privilege to the particular users. The persons whosoever added in this profile option, they only be able to load the invoice. To load the invoice, you must be having this privilege. So you need to remember this one thing, which is really important. To load any invoice, you need to have this privilege. So that is how you can give access to or restrict particular users. What are the duties required for IDR? So let me show you the where we can see the IDR invoices. So go to the task, uh, payables, go to the payables, and under payables you can see the invoices, right? So click on the invoices, and here you can see the scanned tile. This is related to the IDR, scan tile related to IDR. Sometimes you may not be able to see this tile because of the duty role. So we need to add some duty roles as well if you are unable to see this scanned tile. So I'll just go to the required role. So if you see here, there are some privileges, right? So if you see here, this privilege must be added to your role. So I'll just add here. So if you are not able to see the scan tile on your invoice workbench, it is because of the duty role you need to add. So you will add the duty role through the security console to your user, and once you add it, you are able to see the scanned tile. And let's go to the another question. What is adaptive learning? So before we learn about the, we talk about the adaptive learning, I'll just send an invoice to this particular email, and I'll just do this import process. So yeah, I have sent the invoice to this particular email, and I have loaded through this particular process. Let me go to the system. And if you see this, the number three, which I have just performed, and let me just go to this particular invoice, click on this particular invoice. Once you click on this particular invoice hyperlink, you will be able to see two screens. One is image viewer, and another one is that your particular invoice screen. So do you mean by, what do you mean by the adaptive learning? For example, if you see this invoice number 83388 and 01, and it is recognized correctly as a 83388 iPhone 01. So imagine that you want to recognize this date in the invoice number. How can we recognize it? I know it's wrong way that, but to show you how to how the adaptive learning works. So let me show you. So you just need to click on this particular box and again open this invoice. Not this one. Open this one, and you just give double click, or you just select this one. See, you see here, it is overridden to the date. And if you do the same for multiple invoices, and once you do the adaptive learning for the multiple invoices, and automatically a future invoice is recognized with this date under the invoice number field. So before you are giving adaptive learning, make sure that you are giving proper adaptive learning for your invoices. For time being, I'm not making this any changes. I'll just select this invoice number to recognize under that field. So I'll just do this one. So before you do copy this one, you have to click on this number field, and then only you will be able to make any changes. Then only you have to copy this one. Once you copy it, it will be automatically recognized here. That is called adaptive learning. Similarly, you can do adaptive learning for all the fields, like here the amount, total amount, or description of the lines, everything. So if you see here we have the description, sudden link, and everything got recognized here. If you feel which is not recognized properly, you can highlight this field and do the adaptive learning for this particular field. That is called the adaptive learning. And remember that you need to do proper adaptive learning and correct field adaptive learning. Otherwise, your future invoices will be recognized as your adaptive learning how you did to the system. That is called the adaptive learning. What type of documents does IDR supports? We have the list of documents that is been recognized by the IDR. So let me just show you. So here, so if you see here, IDR supports the following: invoice and credit memo. Yeah, one more thing is that IDR works for standard invoice and credit memo. IDR only supports these two standard invoice types. Other than these two, like debit memo or any other payment request, and everything other than these two will not be supported by the IDR. Only IDR supports these two documents. And our question is that what type of document does IDR supports? Document means PDFs. Now this particular PDF you see here, this particular PDF is the supplier invoice. Supplier will going to send an email to that particular email that we have discussed. So what type of documents does supplier can send? Now this is a PDF, right? That right? But what type of another documents can supplier send? Those are the information that I have just searched. So if you see here, I'll just copy it. So we have the PDF support, document support, PNG support, JPG support. These all are the documents that supplier can send to the IDR email. So IDR email. Yeah. Also, how can we recognize multiple invoices in particular PDF? So for example, if I have this particular PDF, right? In this particular PDF only I have five different invoices to be created. How, like, what is the procedure for this, to recognize the five different invoices from one single PDF? That will be the totally different process. If at all you require this process, you want to know this process, you can drop an email to me. I'll let you know what is the process for it, and you can find my email in the YouTube channel description. And any doubts that you have for this particular topic idea, you are free to mail me, or you are free to comment me on the YouTube. I'll try to respond you back as soon as possible. And also one more last thing that I want to let you know, that if you change any modification for supplier, you need to wait for 24 hours to recognize by IDR. This is one of the important point. Like for example, if you made any supplier update, like address change or postal code change or anything, name change, address name, any change you made for supplier, then you must have to wait for 24 hours to send an email to the IDR. Otherwise, IDR will not be able to recognize this particular supplier. That is one of the limitation that we have.